Okay, video 2. What we're going to do is start to fill in these spaces and start to see what kind of comes up as we do so. I also want to share why why intuitive painting is so special and why I highly encourage you to really embrace this journey of intuitive painting. Okay, so one of the reasons why I love the intuitive painting process is because it really frees your mind. You kind of work through the painting and you just get into this meditative state where you can just work through things, and it's just this process without preconceived ideas. So if you go in going, oh, I've got to paint it this way, then it's this, you have a preconceived idea already. Whereas the intuitive painting, you see where it takes you. The other aspect of doing intuitive painting is the aspect of enhancing experimentation. So it really helps because you're experimenting. I may change all of this. You know, it's kind of like, oh, I'll try this. I'll see how this looks. I'll see if this color looks right. And so that builds creativity, that kind of builds that part of your brain to think of solutions and ideas, and just encourages that self-expression of like, oh, I want to do it this way. I mean, there's no right way of doing it, and there's no right colors to use, and it's really breaking through that idea of right and wrong. And that's why I love the intuitive painting process. Okay, let's get started. one of the things I wanted to show you is that you can start to line in and fill these areas up, but also leave parts of them. You know, you can kind of rub in here, but leave parts. We'll see what happens. You know, it's all about experimentation, and seeing what kind of comes up as we kind of play with it. So you don't really know until you kind of get in there and say, okay, this is interesting. I didn't expect this to kind of come up. And you start filling in these areas. Like, you also, you know, I'm using these purples, pinks, but I don't know if that's what's going to be. You know, I start to blend them in here. I don't really know, because I'm allowing myself to kind of play with what's coming up for me as I'm painting and experimenting. You also, you know, you can add in like these textures, you know, like as you're doing it, you can start to kind of scrape in and see, do you like that? You know? So it's all about seeing what comes up for you, experimenting. Like if you don't like a certain, like I hadn't really liked right here where I was originally painted. It was kind of weird, but now I'm bringing the petal a little bit over, and same with here. So you can always change it. It's not, you're not stuck to keeping the way you originally put that white line down. You can also use a black line, you know, whatever, a dark line, something that kind of just starts to give you an outline. And then this is where you start going, okay, what do I see here? Where do I want to fill in? What am I feeling drawn to when I look at it? You know, often stepping away, seeing, okay, what is it that feels like I want to add in here? And mixing your colors and just saying, oh, okay. You know, sometimes I do lights and darks, and but also it's really cool to have this blue or to have this line in here. You know, that kind of area is kind of cool. Maybe just paint up here. You know, you paint around. You can always go back, paint in the white line as you see it. You know, like, oh no, I want to put that white line back in there. You can even go, oh, you know what? I kind of want to put green back in here, you know? But then you can also go back and change that. Rub it in, scratch it, and then you can just always let it dry. Because sometimes the greens can add a different dimension. It's also, you know, going light and darks. I mean, there's a part of me that really likes this part. I don't know if that's going to stay. But it's all about experimenting. Just allow your mind, allow all that self-doubt and critical, just realize like, oh, this is what comes up for you in your everyday life. You know, you're afraid to try something new. So think of this as like practice, like, oh, you know, what's my state of mind when I'm thinking about trying something new? What's my state of mind when I'm just wanting to do something and I'm afraid to try something because I want it to be perfect? Well, we know that doesn't, you know, perfect is a funny thing. We all have our idea of what's perfect too, because what's perfect to somebody else might not be under your standards, right? So it's really working through all those blocks that hold you back, from showing up for yourself and showing up for your life. What can you do? This painting practice just really gives you that practice to be able to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to try something different that I haven't tried before. I'm going to see how I show up for myself. I'm going to build that agility, that creative agility muscle, so to speak. And yeah, sometimes I put a lot of paint on. I can paint really heavy and I can paint really light. You know, it's really, everyone's so different about how they paint. And the best thing is to, you can be inspired by others, but really start to discover what it is for you. Oh, I just love this yellow in here. So I start to kind of scratch it away. There. So as you see, I want to add some purple up here to kind of bring that purple a little bit, just a tad bit up there. Not sure how it will look. I feel the need to get maybe even darker purple. I don't know, maybe we'll, so the last video, we'll add a little bit more detail. I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to start to work on this leaf to try to start to kind of have some kind of shape, or trying to figure out, you know, what's coming to me. Just allowing it. Yeah, sometimes I do use a reference to a certain point, but then I try to really allow myself to go, what am I feeling? You know, what do I imagine this leaf to look like here, you know? So, you know, typically when I was doing my research, the leaves are kind of they're kind of round, really. They're kind of a round type of leaf. And they tend to be very veiny. They have this one dark part here, and there's all these different veins to it. And so I'm trying to just kind of go, okay, let's just start playing with it being more of a, you know, roundish leaf. I don't worry too, you know, when I'm doing this, I'm not worrying about like, oh my God, does it look exactly like it? Is someone going to be able to tell what it is? It's because it's not about someone else. You know, it's how you feel about it. So see, I just like start freely just kind of allowing this to kind of come up. I might add a little, you know, lightness to it, maybe. I don't know. Did I like that? Nah. Lighter green. No, I think if anything, it goes darker, actually. You know, maybe has this more, no, see? I do like kind of this more, it's got a sagey, you know, purpley feel, but I probably will use more of a, add in a little bit of this color, raw sienna. See, a lot of times too, not everyone does this, but I like to, in some ways, mix my colors on the actual canvas. You know, that's kind of part of the blending in. You know, yes, it can make it muddy, but it can also just highlight these colors. I don't know, it just starts, it's fun to me. And that's what this is about having fun and experimental kind of actions here. Okay, I think I'm gonna kind of let this go, this leaf right now, just let it dry to add my next layer. And also kind of allowing this lotus flower start to kind of dry, because you need it to kind of dry to see what's going on. You also can see I kind of was motivated by this little by this little flower over here, because it looked like a little flower to me, you know. It looked like a little baby lotus flower. with this little yellow inside, a little different than what I'm showing you here. And I kind of liked it. Yes, very kind of abstract-y, but that's what I like. I like kind of playing with like not trying to make it so perfect. A little something. I used to design fabrics and prints, so you had to kind of be pretty precise when you repeated a pattern. And what I like about this painting practice is that I don't have to really worry about everything being so darn perfect. I can just go, oh, okay, I like this. Okay, I don't like this. I'll take this away. And you never know. I might do that with this, but I thought it was kind of cool how it was kind of forming, you know, and what was forming. You know, I don't know. We'll see. You know, as we paint, we'll see what comes up and what gets noticed, what gets pulled out of this. You know, the other thing is, see, I feel like there's a a stem here. Isn't that funny? You see right there, coming up from the water. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry, and then we are going to go into the next video, and we're going to get a little bit more, we're going to work through the details and start kind of focusing on areas that we want to highlight, you know, maybe bring in some more textures in here, maybe bring in some, you know, we'll see. You can use stencils, you can add in stuff that you may want to add some texture, or you want to bring some of that color back in that we may have taken out. We'll see what happens on that next video. Okay, thanks. See you in the next video. Bye.